Salutations, everybody. It is a bundled up Mr. Matty. It is freezing inside this studio, but I'm going to put it all on the line for my viewers as well as Cyberpunk 2077. Of course, in the name of this game, what wouldn't I do? But ladies and gentlemen, today we got some hype information to go over, and the coverage will continue to ramp up as we get closer and closer to that December 10th release date, provided it actually, stays there. But I have confidence it will, and part of that reason is actually in this video here today, because we got some leaks. Don't worry, no spoilers in this video. We're not going to ruin anything for anyone out there. I understand the anticipation, the excitement of this game, but we have to discuss the notion of leaks and what that actually means for the game. So between that and this hype information, got a lot to talk about today. So let's get it started, of course, with the hype. This is a hype machine here, right? We love to be excited about games. So it begins with Lucas Babiel over at CD Projekt Red, who is the QA lead. And he had some tweets, and those tweets, they were fire. Unlike this studio, why is it so cold in here? Oh, God. So he started off a Nomad playthrough. For those who don't know, Nomad puts you outside of Night City at the beginning of the game as one of the 3 origins you can pick. Otherwise, there is, of course, the Street Kid as well as the Corpo, but Nomad is what Lucas selected, and then he shows his playtime afterwards, which is at 175 hours and 43 minutes. Okay, so with that in mind, it's going to be very interesting to see how long CD Projekt Red wants to give people like myself and other creators and the press time to review this game. This also absolutely explains why IGN, why GameSpot was allowed to play for 16 hours, because here we got the QA lead playing for 175 hours. Now, we'll discuss what it means between a normal player as well as someone who's doing QA, which is quality assurance. You're going from top to bottom, seeing how everything works, how everything functions. Is this a completionist playthrough is the main question right off the bat, right? Well, someone actually asked that. Is this completionist time? To which Lucas said, not really. That's just one of my ongoing slow-paced, emphasis on that, playthroughs on the hardest difficulty, emphasis on that, where I play more stealthy than usual. Loot everything, use every feature the game has to offer. I take my time. Okay, so with that right there, I'm not trying to deflate anyone's hype balloon, put a pin in it, but this does, of course, pad at some of the hours. When you're playing on the hardest difficulty and you're dying and you're reloading or you're taking your time, you're going very slow, this does add hours. You'd be surprised how many hours you out there have racked up by idly leaving your game on. We don't know if that applies. So, of course, take all of that into account. Now, the difference between QA is this is someone who's going to, you guessed it by the name of their job, quality assurance. They're going to check the quality of every part of the game from top to bottom. And Cyberpunk 2077, of course, is going to be a big game. So any type of thorough playthrough is going to take multiple hundreds of hours. That seemed obvious off the bat. But between you and I, players who may not look for every nook and cranny, every single crevice, and just go to quests, explore buildings that catch your eye, that type of stuff, our hours may be less. And I've noticed more and more, however, on the other end of the spectrum, that when companies share how many hours a game will take, they give you a big range, and usually that range is lowball. The best memory I have of that right now is actually Greedfall, where they said, oh, it's about 25, 30 hours. That game took me almost 50. It was a long game. Lucas actually answered some more questions on his Twitter account, so let's go ahead and read over all of those. He was asked, are you still not done with everything? And he said, nope, we're just 175 hours and not done. So I'm guessing an average playthrough, seeing a lot of the side content, seeing the main story through, will sit well above 100 hours. That is quite the investment. But here's the catch, right? If this game really does go all the way with its role playing and its choice and consequence, this is just Nomad. What about Street Kid? What about Corpo? What do these playthroughs offer? It's going to be insane to see all of this game unfold. It is going to be dissected for years because there is going to be a lot of content. That's not me trying to hype things up, believe it or not. I'm being dead serious here. This game is going to be picked apart for years because if you got one playthrough that does all of this stuff, obviously you'll see some of the same content, don't get me wrong, but those quests and how they react to your build, that's going to be the interesting part. Everyone has a chance to have a really different experience here. But wait, there's more from Lucas. Is there separate save files for each of the life paths? And Lucas states every save is marked with the life path so you can distinguish between them. Yes, this is great news. This is really really good news, because I hate save 1, save 2, and I have to like gauge, okay, that one's got 30 minutes, that one's got 40 hours. This is my new save file. Let me name my save files, right? I like to come up with the goofy save file names. I always have since KOTOR. It's my thing, man. So I'm really excited to see that we're going to actually be able to distinguish which of our save files there are. And especially if you're playing the game over and over, this is going to be important. So really hype about that one. But that's generally what's going on when it comes to the length of the game. And we already had a feeling based off, of course, those previews. 16 hours of a preview is insane, unheard of. But of course, the script length, when the Japanese localization script was posted over on Twitter, we saw how big that was. It was a mountain of papers. It was insane. Like it puts, what am I even looking for here? I can't find the words. Big script, lots of words means lots of quests, lots of story, lots of content. I mean, that's as simple as I can possibly put it. And I'm just saying it for context's sake. This is going to be a big game one way or another, and it's going to easily take you over 100 hours to see a lot of the side content, plus the story. I think the story itself will be shorter, but I think this world is going to be insanely full. Now, let's talk about leaks. So there's been some leaks. I talked about on one of my last Cyberpunk videos, about 2 videos ago, on how we had versions of the games come out into the wild. And it seems like a lot of the press has caught up with that and cycled this into their news as well, where people are talking about 2 discs being with Cyberpunk 2077. But what's starting to happen is we're seeing more shipments arrive to, say, Amazon. Now, this is significant because it could mean that the game is actually going to make it out on December 10th, which some people have suggested that may not be the case. I'm feeling pretty confident now that's absolutely going to be the case, because we're getting very close to December. We had a moment where CD Projekt Red went very quiet on the Cyberpunk account for a decent amount of time after the delay, and I think once they got the green light, like, hey, you're good, this is going to come out, that they started promoting stuff. We did Night City Wire number 5, the final Night City Wire they emphasized. So we can trust that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming in December, and with that, that means those versions are arriving at the warehouse, so you can trust in the release date. That's the first takeaway there. But a lot of people started to give their own takeaway, which is, okay, if they're in the warehouse, this is probably one of the most anticipated game in years. Probably since Red Dead Redemption 2, this is one of the most anticipated games out there right now. And with that in mind, that means there are going to be people who are leaking. Now, as of the time that I was getting ready to record this, there wasn't any leaks. It was just people warning, saying, hey, copies are out in the wild. There probably will be leaks. And not shortly after, there was a article that got posted on PC Gamer highlighting that there was indeed a leak. And so we will not be getting into spoilers. It covers the first 20 minutes of the game, but still, I don't want a single minute of this game spoiled for me outside of what has been shown in trailers and what's been shown in Night City Wire personally. But we're going to go ahead and read the PC Gamer report just to get some context for what we're going to discuss. Though Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't release until December 10th, while CD Projekt Red continues working on the Day 1 patch, there are physical copies sitting on shelves in warehouses, except for one copy which made its way into the hands of some players who streamed 20 minutes of the open world RPG's opening last night. Just 20 minutes, how generous. The footage comes from the PS4 Pro version, which means it's in 1080p, and was quickly spotted and saved and shared around forums. It skips most of the character customization, not even bothering to look at the tooth or fingernail customization options, and depicts some of the prologue of the Nomad life path. So yeah, these copies have been sitting there. The Day 1 patch for this game is going to be insane, but people are already going to start smuggling copies, honestly, of this game, because I don't know how else to word it other than some people really like to ruin stuff for others. Happiness is not allowed. Enjoying stuff, it's not allowed. We're here to ruin it for you. That seems to be the mantra sometimes with these leaks. And given everyone's anticipation of Cyberpunk 2077, it's starting to hit that awkward phase if you're a content creator of, I want to cover this game and talk about it and engage with my audience, but I'm very scared to go into my Twitter mentions, into my comments, and I'm sure it's the same for you. You want to interact with creators or comment on articles or videos that you have thoughts on. You want to go down there, but going down there is like really scary because suddenly you could have a spoiler for the story, even if it's subtle. I know some people, we've waited so long for this game, right? It's been since 2012. It was unveiled as just a concept, really. And so after all that waiting to get it spoiled in the last month, or really couple of weeks of waiting, that would be really unfortunate. So just keep in mind there will be more leaks. I'm sure by the time this goes live, there will be even more bigger leaks. So just be safe. surf the web wisely. And my suggestion to you would be to go into your YouTube search history, your watch history, clear it out every day. Clear it out every day. Like if you're watching my Cyberpunk content, this will hurt me, and this will, I have to admit, hurt other creators. But go into your YouTube search history and clear that stuff out. Clear out your watch history, because YouTube's algorithm is designed to, of course, recommend videos based off what games, what type of content you're watching. And so if you're watching Cyberpunk and suddenly a video's popping off that has a big spoiler or a big moment in there, and it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail, it will surface onto your homepage. So, explore wisely. I think on Twitter and other places, it's pretty easy to navigate around. But when it comes to YouTube, that can be the unfortunate, like, I didn't want to see that. So just like I said, explore the web wisely. That would be my parting advice to you. But yes, in the scheme of things, Cyberpunk 2077 is huge. That's great news. But on the bad side, we got to just go into our shells for a couple of weeks here as the game starts rolling out. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I go ahead and I pass it off to you. What do you think of the latest Cyberpunk 2077 information, the gigantic playtime, some of the questions that have been answered, separate save file names, as well as the game itself leaking? What do you make of all of this, as well as the potential size of a day one patch? Lots of information in this video, so I'm looking forward to seeing your response. And with that, I will officially now pass it off to you. So let me know what you're thinking. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all of the patrons, all of the members who continue to push the limits of this channel. Appreciate each and every single one of you. And with that, I'll talk to you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.